Hi friends, my name is Alina Domt. I'm a mom of 4. I am 1 month postpartum and I am an aspiring writer. Welcome to my channel. So I have some really exciting news to share. Me and my husband finished writing, editing, we finished a novel. And we're in the querying process and it's been about 4 months and I'm realizing, wow, this is a long process and there's just a lot to do, a lot to deal with. And I need to find a way to be productive while we're waiting to see where this whole journey with our first novel goes. For some background on the book, it is 140,000 words, which is long. It's an epic fantasy. And it is a book that I'm really excited about, a story that I've poured my heart and soul into. It's also supposed to be the first of a 4-book series. And if you would like to learn more about it, you can go to my website and there's just a little synopsis of the first book and some other interesting details about what else is going on, how much I've written of each of the other books, and just the progress that you can see on how we're writing it and how it's coming along. But it's time for me to start something new. And I've decided that as I'm moving on in this journey, as I'm starting a new book, as I'm trying to find a way to be productive while we're querying, that I wanted to share the steps along the way. Since I've already finished a book, I have some experience doing that, and I just want to show the things that worked and the things that didn't and how I'm going to apply myself this time around and just see what happens and how well I can get this story done, how confident I feel about it. I'm going a little bit in a different direction this time around. It's not going to be an epic fantasy. It's going to be something smaller, something around 80,000 words, but my goal is to just get this first draft written at 50,000. 50,000 words, 5 weeks. That's my goal. So I hope that you guys will stick along and stay for the ride, and you can watch all of the videos just to see what happens. You can do this challenge along with me if you want and just see what happens. It doesn't hurt to try to finish, and it usually helps to have somebody that you're doing it alongside so that you can stay on top of things. So stick around, hang out, learn something. I'm happy to have you here. Just as a little side note, there are a lot of things that went into doing this other book, and I'm going to share some things about querying as time goes on, but I would love to know if you guys have any questions or just what you're wondering about the process and what I've experienced so far. I would love to share all of that with you guys, but I just need to know what you want to know because some of it just kind of seems like a blur to me. It happened. I don't think much about it anymore, or I think a lot about certain things that nobody else really thinks about. So I want to know what you guys want to know, what you're wondering about. It's 2024. This could all change in 5 years, but for now, I feel like I've seen 2 videos on querying in 2024, and they're just completely different from my own experience, and there's just not a lot out there to tell you what to expect. So if you're wondering about that, ask questions for sure. I think I have 8 videos planned right now. My 8th video will be on querying and what I've experienced so far, but I definitely want to answer your questions, so throw them in the comment section. I'd love to answer. Okay, so moving on. While I'm taking a break from writing the first draft of the second book in my epic fantasy series that I'm working on, I wanted to start something new, start something fresh, something that's just a completely new story. So I'm dealing with new characters, new locations, new themes, and I just want to jump in, try to get the first draft done relatively quickly and see what happens, see if that's something that I can then edit and query as well as my epic fantasy, and just give me something else that can help me get a leg into the industry because it's not easy, especially in 2024, which is when I'm doing these videos. So let's jump in. This video specifically is going to be how I take an idea that I've had in my head and I make it into a plot. And the idea that I've actually had since before I even knew my husband. I actually have a written sort of first draft, but it's only the first few chapters. I think it comes to about 74 pages or something. And I wrote it over 10 years ago, and my abilities have changed a lot in the past 10 years. So reading it makes me kind of want to vomit, but I think that the idea or the premise that I had is a really cool idea, and I can take that and use it and build on it in a little bit better ways now that I'm a little bit more mature, a little bit more knowledgeable about the writing process, and I have a little bit more life experience. So we're just gonna kind of jump in and start with the idea. So this idea came when I was doing some research on a few songs that I love. So I am a musician and I was a dancer growing up. I did ballet, I did lyrical, I did jazz. There were a lot of things that I did. And I also play the piano and the harp. So I love music. I love dancing to music. I love listening to music. I love playing music. And I developed a passion for the song Scarborough Fair. Now, most of you probably will first think of the Simon and Garfunkel version, which is a fantastic version, but it has its like canticle that's written in that is not part of the original Scarborough Fair song or ballad, but it's Simon and Garfunkel's their own thing that they kind of added into it, which is fantastic, but unrelated. And so I actually found a copy of the full Scarborough Fair, which is like 12 verses or something. It's been a minute since I've looked at it, but we'll look at it together as we do these videos. I thought, people don't like this song because well, this is how people have looked at it and why I was wondering, well, what's the song actually about? But they've complained about the song, random people that I saw on the internet 10 years ago, that it was all about, well, if you are my true love, then you have to do all these impossible things. And that's like a negative message to be sending to people, and we shouldn't have that message be sent to people. And I kind of agree with that you can't expect impossible things out of people, and only if they do that, then they'll be your true love. So I looked more into it, and one of the later verses specifically says, if you can't do all of these things, at least let me know that you've tried, then you'll be a true love of mine. And I thought that was so cool because there's all of these impossible things that a man and a woman singing together are expecting each other to do for the other. And at the end, it's just saying, please try to do these things and then we can be together. We can have true love. I just really liked that idea. And then I found out that it's actually based on maybe an even older song called the Elfin Knight. And I thought that was really cool too. But the difference being is that the Elfin Knight is expecting this woman who he's stealing away to do all of these impossible things to escape his grasp, basically. And I thought, what if I mixed both of those things, both of those ideas, that you have a protagonist who wants to fall in love with this person or is in love with this person but is afraid to give herself fully over to him until she sees that he's willing to do everything he can to be with her, and she wants to do everything she can to be with him, but in the process of escaping the clutches of an elfin knight. And so that is basically the idea of the story that I have, and I want to jump in and try to make it into a real plot. A real story plot. So I'm gonna switch from talking head now to screen, and we're just gonna kind of dive in and see what we can figure out, see the different kind of elements that we can use in my brain and in my imagination to throw this story together and make a really cool plot idea. So let's move over to my screen. And here it is. So I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna throw it onto here. Looks like there's some like extra additional verses. One thing that I want to note is that there are at least two points of view in the song itself. You have the man and you have the woman, and they sing to each other and ask each other to do impossible things. So I think that I'm going to adopt that and apply that to my story. There will be 2 points of view. It'll be a man and a woman, and they'll be asking each other to do impossible things, and they will have to follow through with those impossible things if they want to show that they are really true loves. So this is the Scarborough Fair lyrics. I'm also going to add the Elfin Knight lyrics to see if I can find anything valuable in there to kind of use in the story. There we go. You can kind of see the similarities, so we're just gonna throw this in here. One thing that I notice with this is that you have the parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. So I know that I want herbs to be a decent part of the story somehow, whether they're used to create potions or they're used as a hindrance or something. I want them to be used. I want herbs to be kind of a comeback theme regularly in the story. Okay, I am also seeing in my head right now like a scarlet red color. I don't know if I want to use that for like a hair color or something, possibly. I'm also seeing a green, like forest green, perhaps, and ooh, something like this for like all your herbs. And then I also am seeing like a royal purple, maybe a dress, something like that in my head. How can I pull that together? Don't know for sure, but I'm sure gonna try. We'll see. Okay, throw that in there as well. We'll just shrink that down a little bit. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Let's get rid of this new note that doesn't matter. Okay, because we have a main character, it's going to be a female main character. And then I know we're going to have somebody that she is madly in love with, that she is asking to do impossible things for her. He's asking her to do impossible things for him. So there's going to be a love interest of sorts. And then because we're bringing in this elven knight, there's going to be this elfin prince or knight or king, maybe, that is messing with her. And so this is kind of going to bring in a love triangle. Although I am not a fan of love triangles, I avoid them at all costs. I avoided them in my last book and I will continue to avoid them. However, the love triangles that I find most interesting are things like Phantom of the Opera, for instance. You have the Phantom and Raoul, I think his name is. She actually loves Raoul. She's really interested in him. And then you have the Phantom, who is this figment of her imagination. Basically, like, yes, he exists, but what she thinks of him, what she knows about him, he's this angel of music and he was sent by her father. And she has this idea of what he is. And it's kind of this dream-like state that she finds herself in. And he's really not all that. It's not, I'm picking between these two beautiful, wonderful guys. It's, no, there's a guy that's really screwed up that she has a screwed up version of in her head or vision of. And then there's the person who actually loves her, that's going to do everything he can for her, that would die to make sure she was safe. And, you know, that's kind of the Phantom of the Opera love triangle. And I appreciate that because I don't want to, no girl really wants to have to pick between two perfect guys. And I don't think it happens very often. So we're going to just nix that idea. There is a love triangle, but it is a love triangle in quotations. It's not what everybody kind of expects of a love triangle. So that's going to be in there. Love that. Now I'm going to be doing specifically a research video where I go into the history, the time period, and the location, the folklore, that kind of thing. I'm going to do that in a future video. But for now, I know that based on the name, there's going to be a fair. So Scarborough Fair, that's involved. What does that have to do with the overall storyline? I don't know, but it's going to be there. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that. This is the idea. I kind of have a plot that you have a female main character. She has a love interest. They're asking each other to do impossible things. And she is also trying to escape the grasps of this elfin prince, knight, or king. And somehow herbs are going to be involved. and we will see whether true love wins out in the end or whether the Elfin Knight is just too strong and overtakes her and she can't escape his clutches. And so this is kind of the story we're going to go with. That's the overall plot. We will dive deeper into it into future videos, but this is the basis. This is what we're going with. And I am super excited to do more of this with you guys in the future. So any questions you have, any videos you'd like to see, anything like that, put it in the comments. Please like or subscribe. It just helps the algorithm. It'll help me get seen more. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.